Hello, everyone. I am Mary Jane Topash, the Assistant Director for Cultural Education Initiatives at the Burke Museum. Today, we are honoring Latinx Heritage Month by celebrating some of our own staff here at the Burke. We are going to talk today about their heritages and their life experiences and just anything that they would like to share today. So before we begin, I would like to acknowledge that we are located on the ancestral lands of the Coast Salish people, whom are alive and thriving today and who have been here since time immemorial. So thank you. Today we're here with three of our staff from the Burke, and I will let them introduce themselves. We will start with Alejo. Thank you.
Hi, thank you so much for inviting us, Mary Jane. And I'm Alejo Rico Guevara. I am a curator of birds at the Burke Museum. Yeah, that's for the introduction.
Thank you.
Hello, Mary Jane. I'm Pamela Maldonado. I am in Education Department, and I'm the Burke Mobile Program Manager. So I normally teach young kids.
Thank you.
And I'm Aaron McKenna. I'm the Diversity, Equity, Access, Inclusion, and Decolonization Coordinator. So I do lots of different things throughout the museum.
Wonderful. Thank you three for being here today and willing to share some of your background and your history. Today we are going to begin with Alejo. You're okay with that? If you don't mind just sharing a little bit about your background, your heritage, anything that you'd like to share about yourself, feel free.
Yeah, absolutely. So I grew up in the mountains of Colombia. There, high up is cold, so it's the tropics, but it's very high up in the mountains. So we use a lot of like warm clothes, and then one typical cloth accessory up there is the ruana, which is like a poncho that you put over, but it's very thick. So I grew up in cold climate, speaking Spanish. I only learned to speak English when I came to the US to do my PhD. So I actually learned English one summer before I started my PhD. During college, I did my undergrad at the Universidad Nacional de Colombia, and we used to read and have some conversations just to force us to speak English a little bit. But I actually learned how to speak right when I started my PhD. And then I went back to Colombia. When I finished, I worked on conservation of birds. And then I just felt that I was missing doing research so much. And then I went to a postdoc at UC Berkeley. And then I started here in 2020, right before the pandemic. So it's been a roller coaster since there. But yeah, that's more or less the background.
Thank you, Alejo. That's wonderful, and so glad to have you here at the Burke. I've always wondered what your journey was, so thank you for sharing that. I believe Pamela is also from Colombia, so I would love to share some time with Pamela, asking what your background is and your family heritage and all of that.
Yeah, thank you for asking. I was actually born in Colombia, and I moved to the United States with my family when I was 2 years old. So I kind of have this double heritage, right? I'm very much Colombian, and my whole family is from Colombia. But I grew up in the United States, so there's definitely some aspect of knowing what it's like to live here for a long time, most of my life. And, I speak Spanish at home, and I love to speak Spanish with my family and with anyone I meet. But it's interesting to kind of also be at the US and speak English a lot of the times, right? Yeah, I really proud of my heritage. I'm wearing my Colombian jersey. I love watching football, and I'm really just excited to share this time with you all.
Oh, thank you, Pamela. I did note the jersey, so that's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. My next question is for Erin. And I was just wondering, Erin, if you would be comfortable sharing your background and maybe how you choose to celebrate Latinx Heritage Month. And I also might have a few follow-up questions for that, but I'll go ahead and let you introduce yourself and your background.
Yeah, I was born and raised here in Washington State. I'm mixed race, Mexican-American, Yupik, Native Alaskan, and Irish and Scottish. So I'm a little bit from everywhere. Both my parents are mixed race too, so we're a very mixed race family, and it creates a very wonderful home environment, I think. So yeah, some of my favorite ways to celebrate, usually through food. All the recipes that my grandmother gave me, particularly the tamales. You know, we have 3 tamales that we always eat like around Christmas time. That's my favorite holiday. We've got our masa tamales, and it's all wonderful.
That's great. Ooh, I love me some tamales as well.
It's the best.
Well, thank you for sharing that. I was also just wondering, maybe how would you say this kind of presents itself in your everyday life or maybe your professional life? Your multiple heritages, or just kind of how does this influence your everyday life, would you say?
Significantly. I was always the kid who had burritos and tamales for my lunch instead of sandwiches in the school. I was always very proud of that. I also ate better than everyone else in the lunchroom. But I think in my professional life, I really took a lot of learnings from my grandmother. She's the strongest one in our family. And she protested, she fought for what she believed was right at every turn. It's a very Mexican thing, to stand up for what you believe in, and that has influenced my work tremendously.
Absolutely. I love that. Thank you. I'm going to go back to Alejo, and I just wanted to see if you would mind sharing your thoughts on how you celebrate Latinx Heritage Month.
Yeah, absolutely. So my heritage is present in my daily life through music, through like the things I wear. For instance, I use this thing. Oh, sorry about the about the Zoom background that doesn't let it see, but it's a mochila, we call it, and this is a very practical accessory because you just like put it on you, and then you just kind of like walk and you don't need to carry really a backpack, but you can like reach out for stuff, and it's very comfortable and practical, and it's fun to have that as a reminder of where you're coming from as well. And also I love listening to Latin music. There are so many styles of music. Is so rich that it's sort of like food. I miss the diversity of food that I have when I'm in Colombia, but I can have all the diversity of music through like not live music, but at least like getting to listen to vallenato, which is like a very popular Colombian music, and there are now like new trends of artists coming from all over Latin America, and especially from Colombia, that I love to hear. And yeah, so those are some of the ways I celebrate my heritage. I also, as Aaron was saying, I follow a lot of my grandma's lessons, so they were also the strongest in both families. So both of my grandmas lived to live 100. So that was a long time of like teaching us about everything that like how you're supposed to be in life and how you enjoy it and how you keep the family together, and that's super cool. In the more professional front, I do research in Colombia, and I go there. Well, I haven't been there since the pandemic started because we have been to postponing the field season over and over again. But we still keep the research station going. I work with hummingbirds. You can see your background. And there are, Colombia is the country with most birds in the world, species of birds, and also of hummingbirds. So that's why my research takes me there to Colombia as well. So I mix both professional and personal worlds when I'm there, and that's how.
That's a beautiful thing to be able to meld, your heritage, your backgrounds, and to your professional work life. It's very rare to be able to do that. So I'm very happy for you that you get to do that. Thank you for answering my question. So one of the things you touched on was food, and I know that Erin has touched on food as well. But I did want to switch to Erin for a second. You shared with us some photos of food, and you talked a little bit about tamales. Would you like to just go into that a little bit more while we look at your tamale picture?
I can talk about tamales all day.
Yeah.
This one in this photo is one of my favorite tamales. The most common tamale is made with masa. This one is made with fresh corn, which is one of my favorites, and roasted poblanos and cheese. And it's one of the older ones that's been shared in my family for a while. So we always have our masa tamale with your classic mole, a dark red chocolate mole, and then the fresh corn tamales here, and then one that's been passed down in my family for generations, and I've never seen it anywhere else before, which is a bean tamale. It's like a sweet bean tamale with raisins and stuff in it. Oh, wow. Which is very unique, and we only have that one for Christmas, really. And all of these bring back memories of cooking with my grandmother and with my mom and my aunt, and we drag in the uncles too, whether or not they want to. But just being in that room, sharing stories, smelling the burning chili powder that's so strong in the air that you cough. Oh, that brings me back home more than anything. You can't see it on the top there, but we always have Guadalupe at the top of our tree instead of a star. It's in my old home. We had a different color wall for every single room, because Mexico and color go hand in hand. We always had tons of my mom's and my grandmother's paintings. Every wall was a different color, and it just feels like life,
Yeah. And your Christmas, I'm assuming your Christmas holiday is a big deal.
Oh yeah. Even when we didn't have a lot of money, we always brought all the decorations we'd had for a long time and made it an event.
Oh, well, thank you for sharing that. I appreciate that. Yeah, food, holidays, I feel like those are always the big building blocks of celebrating ourselves and our cultures. Thank you, Erin. So I just have one last question, and this one is for Pamela. And you mentioned that you are our Burke Mobile manager, program manager, and you work with students. So I had to ask, how would you say that you would like to connect to our Latinx audiences through your work through the Burke, and just kind of how that influences your work life?
Yeah, thanks for that question. Yeah, so I think it has happened already in a lot of ways. So sometimes I teach at schools where there's a lot of young kids who are learning English and who speak Spanish at home. And so it's been a really beautiful experience to kind of teach them in Spanish and get to hear their stories and the things that they've learned from their family, from their abuelas as well. And so I think that's kind of what I find so special. And looking to the future, I really want to see more programs be taught in Spanish. So that's something that I'm really working towards, so that everybody can feel welcome and can feel like they can share what they know, because I think that's what's so beautiful about some of the topics that we do at the Burke. We all have knowledge from our families, from the people in our lives, and it's not just one expert, right? We know a lot of things. So that's kind of what I hope for. And I just want to say I'm really excited to see all the things that Alejo and Erin were sharing, because I also have a mochila that I use a lot. And I also have, just seeing those pictures brought me back to Christmas for me. In Colombia, novenas are really big. It's a whole month-long celebration. You know, this is all, even though we might not be the same heritage, there's definitely things that unite us that I find really awesome.
Absolutely. Beautifully said. Thank you. I completely agree with that. Especially food and holidays, they really always have a way to bring us together, yet very individually, right? Each family. And so thank you for that. Well, this is all of the questions I had today that I wanted to ask and share with you all. I did want to give any final moments if anyone has anything they want to share that's pressing, that they just really would love for folks to know or folks to feel or to think about. So I'm gonna, any one of you, feel free if you want to answer. You don't have to, but I just wanted to give the opportunity.
I just wanted to comment briefly about like Aaron mentioned that they replaced the Star by Guadalupe, and in Colombia, at least in our family, we have baby Jesus bringing the gifts as opposed to Santa. I don't know how exactly the logistics of that works. Like why? Like how can a baby bring? But that's how it works. So like the morning of Christmas, the grandma wakes up early and then put the baby Jesus where it goes in the pesebre. We call it the nativity scene, and then the gifts appear magically. So that, I mean, and then just that connects to my last thought, which is celebrating heritage is celebrating like family and friends and all of those feelings that unite us and make us feel part of something bigger, that we can make others happy through many ways. And we should work hard on not losing that of sight. So. Yeah. Thank you so much for this space, Mary Jane. This is wonderful. Thank you. Thank you, Pamela and Erin, for sharing all of that.
Oh, beautiful words. Thank you, Alejo. Appreciate that.
I just wanted to say thank you for bringing us all together. As a mixed race person, I don't get to talk as much as I'd like to about my Mexican heritage, and it makes me feel really good. To hear those other stories from other folks, and I hope we can do that more.
Oh, love it. Yes, Erin, thank you. Appreciate it. Well, this will conclude our little interview with our staff here at the Burke. I just want to thank you all for your participation. Thank you for your thoughtfulness and your question and your answers and sharing some of your photos with your families. There's a lot of life and a lot of warmth that come through those photos. So thank you for sharing your words. I am happy that we get to celebrate Latinx Heritage Month this month. And I just want to thank everyone for participating and those who are involved. So thank you all. I want you all to have a lovely day, and adios.